Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 86. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How you doing, Dory?
Hello, Seb. I'm doing well. I just beat Trails first chapter right before we started the podcast, so we'll be talking about that. I also want to mention real quick that I wrote about video games on my blog, Second Chance and Once More, my new blog that I started this year as a way to get me to write more often. You can go check it out on the blogging site Ghost, and you can subscribe to it like a newsletter if you're interested. And I update weekly. But yeah, I'm mentioning that because recently I wrote about being a gamer and growing up with video games and stuff like that. So go check it out. A lot about Kingdom Hearts as well, of course. But yeah, besides that, we're also going to talk about the Developer Direct 2026, which happened recently. A big shakeup in Ubisoft. A couple of indie games that Seb has been playing, including Kejora. Yeah, we're going to start off by talking about the Life is Strange reunion trailer reveal.
So, as we talked about in the past, it basically got leaked, or it was a huge rumor that we were getting a new Life is Strange game, and it turns out that it's true. We're getting Life is Strange Reunion, which is from Square Enix and Deck 9, and it's scheduled to launch on March 26th on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. This time, it's not episodic, and we're going to get the whole game day one. So that's good news. Neither of us like episodic that much, generally.
Yeah.
The story reunites the original protagonists, Max and Chloe, bring them together as playable characters. Max is going to return with her iconic time rewinding ability, and Chloe is going to bring back her backtalk skill. And this is going to allow players to tackle conversations and obstacles in new ways. The narrative picks up at Caledon. Is it Caledon? I think it's Caledon.
Caledon, yeah.
University, where Max now teaches photography. After a devastating fire destroys part of the campus and kills many loved ones, Max uses her powers to rewind time and has just a few days to uncover what caused the disaster. Then all of a sudden, Chloe appears in Max's life, her return tied to tangled timelines and past events. So, Dory, what was your first reaction when you saw that Chloe was officially part of this game as a protagonist?
I feel like I had two simultaneous reactions, if I may. This sucks, and this is awesome. I had like two very diverging opinions about them doing this at the same time. On the one hand, I adore Life is Strange 1. I played it, I don't remember exactly when, but sometime in I want to say 2016 is when I played it. I don't remember when Life is Strange came out. I think 2014.
14 sounds right. Or it's either 14 or 15.
Yeah. So it wasn't too long after it came out, and I really loved it. And I still do. I haven't gone back and play it because I know
15.
Some of it doesn't age very well. What's that?
It was 2015.
15, okay. So it wasn't that long ago at all in terms of when I played it versus when it came out. And I was a huge fan of Chloe, huge fan of Max, and just really enjoyed the narrative and the choices that you made, and especially the ending, which I felt was very confident in itself and very final and just a very bold direction to take, because you really could either save Chloe or save Arcadia. Now, I saved Arcadia because to me that seemed like the moral decision. It also seemed like that's what the game wanted you to do, which did slightly influence my choice. I'm not going to lie. And also in general, I don't think saving one person is worth sacrificing an entire town's life, generally speaking. Or I'm sure there's some niche exception you could make where that one person is going to solve cancer or something.
Yeah.
But but on average, I would pick one town over one person. So I really respected a lot of what it went for. But the hate part is what I just talked about, right? I feel, and Seb said this, I think last episode maybe, the ending feels like an ending. It feels final. I don't feel like we need to go back to the story. I already was unsure that we needed to go back to Max at all. I like Life is Strange as an anthology series. I'm not as invested, even though I love Max, I'm not as invested in returning to her story. And I'm not one of the Life is Strange fans who hated Double Exposure. I thought it was a great game. Not the best Life is Strange game. I think 2 and True Colors are both better. But I enjoyed it, and I liked seeing Max again. I do remember also having that feeling, and I won't say too much specifics because I don't want to get into spoiler territory. Because Double Exposure is only like what 2 years old at this point or something, not even.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. They're turning this out, but that I was like, I wonder if this timeline fuckery will mean Chloe will come back. And then I immediately thought, nah, that's ridiculous. They won't do that. I was like, but maybe they will. And I wasn't sure. And then I just kind of forgot about that thought. And yeah, I mean, I guess they are. I don't know that it's necessary, but they're doing it. It's happening either way. And at the same time that I'm not sure I love it, I also really love it because I want to see these two characters again. I want to see them interact with each other. I want to see how they've grown and changed. I saw this interesting comment by someone on Blue Sky where it's like the the messaging of the newer Life is Strange game seems to be okay, you can't undo the past, but you can understand it better to be a better person and like make your present like better. Like I'm not gonna explain it very well, and I'm not gonna be able to track down the post. But like the way that they said it really resonated with me. I'm butchering the quote, but basically they were like, there's a point to these thematics in the newer games. Now I don't know if that's true or it's just them being a huge fan like I am, but it's something to think about. There are ways that Square could do this right. I'm just not super confident they will. I feel like we're going for easy fixes, easy solutions, easy resolutions, just things that are easy and things that are going to make fans happy. And like, yeah, I am partially happy, but I'm also partially disappointed because I would just prefer somebody else. Hell, let's go back to Alex before we go back to Max. And again, I love Max, but I adore True Colors. It's probably my favorite Life is Strange game. And I would love to see more of that. But anyway, I've yapped enough. Seb, what did you think?
My thoughts were very similar. I had very mixed opinions about it. I thought the ending of the first game was very definitive, and I thought that sacrificing Chloe was the canon ending, the true ending of the game. Okay, I think the whole theme of the game was building up to Max learning to let go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that just felt like the real ending to me. I mean, I know it's very
Yep.
subjective, and I appreciate an ending that lets people have a choice, but I feel like that was the definitive ending in the game. And this feels like nostalgia bait. Like it just feels like they're trying to make money off nostalgia. And I know Double Exposure, what I've seen, it was a huge loss for Square Enix. It didn't sell very well, and I question how much more Life is Strange has left. Like I don't know how long legs this series has left. Because if this doesn't succeed either, I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think we're gonna get another game.
And we
Honestly,
know Square has very high expectations
that
for their
yeah
games, right? So I'm just
yes
not sure Life is Strange is going to meet those.
that, and also because they're completely restructuring their company as we talked about, and
Right.
focusing more on Japan and RPGs and things like that,
Sure.
and then the fact that this series is already niche, like
Yep.
already, that it's probably this might be the last game. And I love this series, and I've enjoyed every single game in the series. So there's some that are weaker than others, but
Right.
overall I've enjoyed them all. True Colors is my favorite one. Life is Strange 1 would be my second favorite one, and then Life is Strange 2 was probably my third favorite one. I really liked Before the Storm too. It was very
Yes.
emotional. Um, I didn't think 2 was as good as the first one, and I thought Double Exposure was probably the worst of all of them, but it was still a good game. I still really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
we're talking
Yeah. For
like
me, it probably goes like
good.
True Colors. God, it's been so long since I played one, but I would say True Colors, two, one, and then Double Exposure or something like that. Again, it's been so long since I played the original that I just don't know how I'd feel about it 10 years
Yeah,
later. I
yeah,
honestly should probably go back and play it this year and die of cringe, but
yeah.
um, I remember really loving it at the time and thinking it was a really great game. And like I said, I think both Seb and I enjoyed Double Exposure, but there were problems with it. And look, somebody said this online. It really feels like Square is doing the bring back Chloe in case of emergency glass. Like they're breaking that glass and they're bringing back Chloe because they're like, we don't have any other ideas. Let's bring Chloe back
Yeah.
and that'll bring everybody back in.
That's what it
And
feels
it's
like to
like,
me.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I am there day one. Unfortunately, I'm part of the problem, but at the same time, I agree with Seth. And I had no idea, by the way, that double exposure was a financial loss. But I mean, for Square, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know if that. Do you know if it was a financial loss in terms of their expectations, or just in general? Like, did it not sell well, or like, do you remember?
Uh, I'm looking at an article right now, and it says, "quote a large loss." So I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Well,
says
that either way, that's not good news. I know Square is infamous for their whole,
yeah,
did not meet our sales expectations. I mean, shit, they said that about Final Fantasy VII remake or some shit.
yeah,
So their expectations are ridiculous. But if just in general it didn't sell well because people just weren't interested in Max coming back, then that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I remember True Colors doing really well critically. I don't know how it did commercially, but I
It's
mean, these
probably
are, like
niche,
you said,
but
these are
yeah,
niche. These are niche series that they have a dedicated fan base. If you looked online, you'd think this was a massive series, and like you looked at the comic books and like I think the live adaptation that was considered or something like that. Like you would think this was like some kind of massive media franchise, but it's not at all. Like it's very niche. It's probably one of the smallest selling wise franchises that Square has at this point.
yeah.
Um,
But
so yeah,
yeah,
I'm sad if this will be the last one. Although I suppose it will be very poetic because it'll end where it began. But I don't know that that's the right call.
yeah. I know Square Enix tends to have unrealistic expectations for their games, but they've said like Final Fantasy's disappointing. They never said large loss. So
Yeah, that's fair.
there's no numbers. They never released any numbers, so none of us
Of
really
course.
know. But it just sounds like it didn't sell very well, and I
Yeah.
would lean that it probably didn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So I know we sound very negative. We're still gonna play it. We'll probably still really enjoy
Yep.
it. But
Yep.
but like this. But let's be honest. This is Square Enix is kind of like Hail Mary to get
Yeah.
more fans in. I know it's a cynical viewpoint of it, but I feel like that's accurate, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. I do want to recommend. There's a great article on Aftermath, a great independent journal site called "Fans Do Not Deserve Anything," which is a very harsh title, but I think a lot of the things that article has to say about fandom and entitlement and just corporations trying to endlessly kind of tiptoe around fans' expectations. Rebirth had some of those problems too, right, with the Aerith stuff. And so, just the pros and cons, but mostly cons of playing into fans' nostalgia and what they deserve, what they don't deserve, right? Because a big part of this game is that it's by the fans for the fans. And the article is kind of arguing that they don't know how much that should really be the case because ultimately it just feels kind of
Yeah.
self-serving in a way. But yeah, go check it out. It's a great article on Aftermath. I can't remember her name, but she's a great author. And yeah, I really appreciated that article. I had some disagreements with it overall, but I thought it was a great article. But
Yeah.
yeah, like to echo what Seb said, I think it's fair to say that we're very critical of this, but overall, I'm still,
Yeah.
like interested in what's going on here. I want to experience it for myself. I'm there day one, like I said, and it seems like an enticing possibility. I just don't know if it's gonna result with the kind of the kind of ends that we want here. But anyway, Harper J. McIntyre wrote that piece, and she did a great job with that. But yeah, I think we've talked about this enough probably at this point.
Yeah. So in other news this week, a major shakeup happened at Ubisoft. Obviously, Ubisoft's one of the biggest publishers in the whole world, so this is major news for a lot of IPs. So let's get into it. Ubisoft announced a major company restructuring aimed at, quote, returning to sustainable growth. Ubisoft has scrapped 6 games in development, the most notable being the long-awaited Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. This is a project that has been in development for years and has faced repeated delays before finally getting canceled. Other canceled titles include unannounced new games, which included 3 new IPs and a mobile title. So let's talk about Prince of Persia first. So Prince of Persia, when it first was revealed, it looked really rough and it looked awful, honestly. And it was like first time if I remember correctly, it was like first time devs in like India or something like that, and it definitely looked like it was gonna be all like horrible. And I think Ubisoft saw the reaction and basically rebooted the whole project. And because Prince of Persia is a major Ubisoft IP, so it's not something you just give it to anyone and say, "Oh, okay, we'll just release it how it is." It's like it would be like it'd be like an Assassin's Creed game being god awful. Like it's a major IP for them, so they don't want to like ruin the franchise like that. So it made sense. It doesn't shock me that they canceled this. When games are usually in development hell, it usually doesn't pan out ultimately. There's really very rarely games come out in absolute 10 years of disaster, 10 years of development come out and end up being good. Like one example would be like Dead Island 2 where like that went through so much hell and it ended up being a really good game. But otherwise most games end up being completely terrible when they've been rebooted multiple times. So, what's your reaction to the Prince of Persia game being canceled? Because we don't know anything else. Other games are new IPs we have no idea, and a mobile title which we don't care about. So, what's
Yeah,
your
right.
reaction?
It's a bummer. I'm never going to be excited about games getting canceled unless I feel like it's going to actively contribute to some kind of harm to the larger gaming culture. I mean, it is Ubisoft, so I mean, it's possible that it just would on principle. But that aside, I did play Prince of Persia when I was younger. I don't remember much of it. I don't think I played it a lot. I think I played the same game everybody else did. I played the Sands of Time. I don't really remember much about it. I remember enjoying it, but I couldn't tell you much about my experience, and it
Yeah.
never stuck in my memory for very long. Obviously, Prince of Persia is a long, running franchise at this point. It was very popular with the Metroidvania remake, not remake, but like Prince of Persia Metroidvania game they did, which was very popular. That was one of the ones also I was thinking about earlier when I was thinking about over expectations for sales, because I remember watching this video from GameRanks about how Ubisoft expected over the course of a month or a year or something like that for the Metroidvania version of Prince of Persia. I apologize, I keep calling it that, but I literally cannot remember the title.
Lost Crown.
Lost Crown, thank you. They expected Lost Crown, apparently, according to GameRanks, to make $3 million in like a month or a year. I can't remember. And like they pointed out that like the best selling time, the greatest selling of all time of Metroid games, the Metroid and Metroidvania, it took them like 3 years to make $3 million or something. And that was the game that came out a few years ago now, 2021. The one where you're chased by that killer robot. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
The what? Which game?
Metroid. The Metroid
Dread.
game.
Dread.
I just got it.
My game of the year in 2021, by the way.
Yeah, and even with Dread, which was marketed, I guess, halfway decently by Nintendo and got critical rave and lots of people loved it, took them like 3 years to get 3 million. Anyway, my point in all of this is that Ubisoft, kind of killed off that. And then Prince of Persia Rogue, and they killed the development team too, which also sucks. And then Prince of Persia Rogue has also been doing well, but I think maybe they shut down that studio, or at least it hasn't been getting the same support. Anyway, Prince of Persia at this point is a very troubled studio, or a troubled like franchise. I know that they tried to reboot it in the late 2000s and tried to make it gritty and edgy and dark, and that didn't go well. And then, yeah, it's just not been good for the series. I can't say I have much investment in it. I mostly just feel for the people who worked on this for years and now just have it canceled. I mean, for all I know, they see it as some kind of fucking albatross on them, and it's like a relief to be able to let it die. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's nice in some way, but I don't know, of course. So yeah, it's a bummer, is I guess what I return to. It's almost always a bummer to see a game cancel, especially after years of development. But like you said, so many years of developmental hell, that's often what happens. The ones that come out, let alone come out and succeed, are the exception, not the norm.
Well, I think that's been the problem for Ubisoft, is just too many albatross games on them. Too many games take long in development, or like perfect example was that pirate game we got. Remember Skull and Bones? Like they didn't want to, they wanted to cancel that, and the government they had to make it because the government paid them in Singapore. They had to honor the contract, and they just made a lot of poor financial decisions. And then the expectations for like Lost Crown were a little ridiculous because they sold over 2 million. The game sold over 2 million copies, and that's actually quite good for a Metroidvania. Metroidvanias are not
Yes.
massive sellers.
Yeah.
The only exception is like Metroid Dread, which sold like 3 million, but that Metroid was is a major IP.
Metroid is the Metroid and Metroidvania. Like
Yeah.
Castlevania, also, I think it took them years for their most popular game to sell millions of copies. Like it's just ridiculous. I'm gonna write about this at some point because I just
Yeah.
got to get this all
Es-
out. But yeah, it's very frustrating.
especially
Yeah,
when Prince of Persia is not known for being a Metroidvania series. Like that was the first new Metroid game in a long time. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
a real 2D Metroid game. I mean, um, Prince of Persia is known for being a third person action game. Like you don't, you may not have a lot of memories of Prince of Persia, but like
right.
me personally, like the first three games on the PS2 and the Xbox and things like that, those games were so much fun. The way you can like run on walls and do all these crazy tricks, and that had some of the best parkour ever in games. Like that game was so much fun. Like you could screw up and rewind time. It was ahead of its time. Prince of Persia was such a great series,
Yeah,
and it basically fell off the map. They did like a little reboot, and the reboot was actually pretty good. But other than that, it's pretty much fallen off.
yeah,
It's in the memories of just millennials.
yeah.
So this
Who
was the
mostly remember like those TV commercials where the guy's running on the wall and you're like, oh, that's so cool, and then they die, and then you're like, and then it rewinds, and you're like, oh shit, that's so
oh
cool.
yeah,
That's what I remember.
I used
That's
to
it.
watch so many parkour videos, like random like I don't know
Yeah,
Russian teens just doing crazy
yeah.
trick. Like yeah, that's such a millennial thing. But I was hoping for this game to succeed. Like my expectations for this were not high anyway. First of all, I'm not a giant Ubisoft fan. I think a lot of their games are usually 7 out of 10s, which are not bad scores. Those are good games, but they're never. I don't think they ever make amazing games, and I feel like
Yeah.
they make games that are way too oversaturated and
I think it's fair to
nickel and
say,
diming.
like Assassin's Creed was the best Assassin's Creed in years, and it was maybe an 8 out of 10. And I know like one of our like mutual friends like didn't even like it that much.
Yeah,
So it just feels like you said, Ubisoft are really the king of 6 and 7s out of 10s. I almost never play Ubisoft games just because they're just
it's too
exhausting. They're
long.
exhausting to think about, let alone
Yeah, like
play.
I just don't like the idea of doing 40-hour game or a 80-hour game where like 100 things on the map is just like overwhelming. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft has also delayed 7 other games, pushing back release times to improve quality. One rumored example being the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake, which the internet said was coming out mid-January, and surprise, it didn't.
Yeah.
As of
Definitely did
recording,
not.
so I do think that's coming out. I just don't. It might have been coming out this year. Now I feel like it's coming out next year. I feel like there's some things they want to clean up.
I wonder if too there was some pushback from fans, and I don't have a huge dog in this race, but there was some pushback from fans that getting rid of the modern time stuff. I think we talked about this, but they were getting rid of some of the stuff from the modern era where you're walking around the factory and uncovering the conspiracy and stuff, and people were upset that they were getting rid of that
Yeah,
and just keeping the pirate stuff and then expanding that. I mean, to me, that sounds. I don't really care about the modern stuff, but for some
yeah,
people, that's what makes Assassin's Creed, right?
yeah.
Is like the juxtaposition of the two things. I don't
Mm.
have a huge horse in this race in terms of like what I care about because I'm so done with
It.
Assassin's Creed at this point. But
Mm.
that was maybe they're rethinking that, but I don't know.
I do like Assassin's Creed. I've never been a big fan of Assassin's Creed. Like I grew up, literally, I'm the generation that grew up Assassin's Creed. When
Yes,
I was in
same.
high school, it was like one of the biggest franchises. Everybody was
Yep.
playing it,
I remember playing one, and I loved it at
and
the time.
I was one of the few people that was not a giant fan of the series. I still liked it, and that Assassin's 2 Creed was amazing, but I was not like, oh my god, I have to play the newest one every game back then. So so in terms of Ubisoft, they made some of these decisions that are just blown up in their face, right? Like Star Wars was supposed to be a big hit for them. They really
Yep.
rolled the dice on it, and it blew up in their face. It doesn't surprise me. I feel like a lot of these companies are realizing their budgets are have been so absurd, and they've been chasing this trend where you have to justify a $60-$70 game by making it 70 hours long, and then nickel and dime everybody, and people are tired of that. No one's buying $30 season passes anymore, like they might have done in the past. Especially when the games are $80, and all of a sudden a game turns into be $150 investment for a game that's like a 7 out of 10 at best. I think a lot of these companies are realizing like people are not supporting this anymore, and the sales are reflecting that, and that's why none of these games are reaching these internal sales goals, because I think a lot of people are struggling in this economy, first of all, but I think people are just tired of the same old, and I feel like it's the correct move for Ubisoft generally. Like, I don't want people losing their jobs in the studio. I don't know anything about Ubisoft Stockholm and Halifax that got shut down, and I really feel sorry for the people that got lost their jobs. Of course, a lot of job cuts. But the idea of reorganizing the whole company into 5 creative houses, each focus on specific game genres, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Keep it simple. Reorganize the company. Unfortunately, when you reorganize your company, it just leads to job losses because you just have to cut back, and it's one of those it's one of those things where I feel sorry for people, but I get it from a business standpoint, and it's the right move on their part, and I think the best move for Ubisoft is, it seems like what they're doing now, is quality over quantity, and they've always gone for quantity, where like every game felt like they're pumping games out every month in a factory, and they never lived up to expectations. They were always not polished. They're fixing the game after it comes out. You know what I mean, Dory? So all their games felt like it was made in a factory that they were just pumping out. It seems like now they're focusing more on quality instead of quantity. So I feel like this is the right move. Just unfortunate people have to lose their jobs, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think what makes me so mad about it is this is, shareholder CEO calls affecting people's bottom lines, and it's not their own.
Yeah.
And it's like the people who are getting paid, 20, 30 times everybody else are not going to be affected by any of these bad business decisions, like you said.
Right.
They're focusing on quantity over quality. And who pays for that? It's the people who are barely getting by or burnt out,
right?
Doing mandatory overtime or whatever else, right?
Yeah, it's true. They're scapegoats.
And absolutely, they're scapegoats, and so it sucks on that level.
Yes,
but I do agree with you. This makes a lot of sense to me as well, from an organizational standpoint, from a business standpoint. I don't like people losing their jobs. And I wish it wasn't these people. I wish it was the people who are making the fucking decisions, because they should be the ones suffering the consequences, not people who are barely getting by in this economy that we're in right now in 2026.
Right.
But that's just not realistic. That's not the world we live in, unfortunately. So yeah, I agree with you though. The creative houses idea, it sounds interesting. I hope it helps. I hope it makes things better for the employees who do stick around.
Yeah.
And I hope it makes them make better games at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. So just to be clear, their houses are going to focus on a specific genre. So like one's going to focus on open world adventures. One's going to focus on live service games. Others are going to focus on more like narrative experiences. I want to assume that means like smaller games that are more story driven, and streamlining it, which makes total sense to me. So why it matters? This is a huge overhaul. I mean, Ubisoft's one of the big three. When you think of publishers in the world, they're one of the they're on like EA level, Activision level, right? People put them in the big three. So this is major. I think this is a good reflection, as I said earlier, of development costs, right? The budgets have gotten so absurd in the industry, and they're losing money making these giant bloated games, and they're realizing we can make more money making smaller games. As much as we bitched about linear games back in the day, like remember like 15 years ago, everybody hated linear games. If your game was linear, people despised it.
Final Fantasy 13 the lightning games got absolutely destroyed because of that.
Right, and now people don't know 180. People say Final Fantasy 13 is overhated now, and like I miss that linear gameplay. Me personally, I like both. Like some games, I don't mind being open world. I want a Fallout game where I can explore, Elder Scrolls to explore.
Right.
But on the other hand, not every game needs to be that, because a lot of games add an open world just to be bigger, and then it ends up being like a big waste, like literally a wasteland of nothing, and there's nothing to explore. Like I'll use Metroid Prime 4 as an example of the motorcycle section where you're driving this empty map of crystals, and that's it. Like, why is this in the game? If they just gave me a streamlined 10-hour game of just exploring a cave or a tower or something like that, where it's just nothing but shooting and puzzle solving, that would have been way more better than a stupid motorcycle section, right? And as I talked about the shifting gamer taste, I think this is a good reflection of that. I think people are tired of these bloated games and tired of these season passes that cost ridiculous amount of money. And like, remember Ubisoft was doing things like an Assassin's Creed where like they made the leveling so hard and frustrating
Yeah.
that it would force people to have to want to pay money to level up.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. So they kind of deserve what they get too. Like
they really do. They sowed the seeds on this one.
But as Dory said, unfortunately that results in the regular guy losing his job.
Right.
Not the CEO, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But their stock did completely drop pretty sharply after the announcement, and the investors were pretty concerned. But there was one game that did not get canceled, and that is Beyond Good and Evil 2.
This is the most... All that news that we just talked about is nuts, right?
Yeah, this is the most sustained one. Yeah.
This is the craziest fucking thing. How the hell is this game still alive? I swear to God, we could have World War III, and Ubisoft would say the next day, yes, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development. We are committed to our open world investors, or whatever the fuck they said. It is nuts to me. This game has been in developmental hell for I don't even know how long. 15 years? It's something. It's on the link that I sent. I also want to make a joke here. I'm really excited for the creative houses to be whittled down to 3, and for us to get the War of the Three Houses. Thank you. I will be accepting all money for my excellent video game references. But yeah. Anyway, this is nuts. This is the most bonkers part to me. This is according to Insider Gaming, who are usually, I want to say, on the right of things. And it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And so, it says, oh my God, it's even worse than I thought. It has been in development since its release. This is, again, Insider Gaming. On May 30th, 2008. So that is 17 years, 7 months, and 22 days. That is almost a full-grown adult. That is nuts.
At the very least, the second one was announced at E3 2017. So at the very least, they announced it 9 years ago. We got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, even 9 years is really rough. I mean, oof.
And they're even doing
Kingdom Hearts 4 is only what 3 years in.
Yeah,
something like that. 4.
They're even doing a hybrid live action animated film with Netflix. Like, when we focus on the game, people, let's focus on the game. And then we got that remaster of the first game, which is a classic game, by the way. 2 years ago, and I don't think it sold at all. I think people, I didn't see anyone hype it up or anything. It kind of just went by the wayside, honestly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe the game's farther in development and it's close to being released. Maybe it's like it's done and they don't want to scrap it because it's close. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Yeah. Or they really want to live. Or they really want to like not disappoint people. They're really strong audience that loves that game.
This just feels like desperation meets sunk cost fallacy, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's not that expensive to make. It's possible too, right? So overall, we hope everybody lands on their feet who lost their jobs, and we wish CEOs got punished more. But the overall structuring makes sense to both of us.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to our spotlight. So I'm going to spotlight 2 indie games. So I'll go through these relatively fast compared to Dory, who played and beat Trails in the Sky first chapter. So I'll talk about Hank Drowning on Dry Land first. So it's a short indie puzzle game built around time loops and paradoxes. You play as Hank, a guy stuck reliving the same moments over and over, using time manipulation to solve puzzles, interact with past versions of himself. It's a really weird, funny, and constantly messing with cause and effect in clever ways. So it's a puzzle game. It's a very short puzzle game. What a story. What a creative, funny story that also has a lot of depth to it that could be emotional for some people. So the pros. It's fun, it's quirky, and the characters all have a strong sense of humor. It's like an edgy superhero kind of it feels like something you would see in like an edgy The Boys show or like Invincible or something like that. Like it's just a superhero thing. Maybe like Dispatch. Uh, there's a clever use of time manipulation, including interacting with past versions of yourself. That's really cool. I think that the time mechanic of this game is really cool. You literally see your past self doing the previous puzzle you just were doing. Like you literally see how yourself what you were playing, and but if you interact with them or go near them, you automatically die. You create a paradox and you have to restart. And there's a rewind that works really well. Actually, I appreciate that. Like because you're gonna mess up a lot, and there's a very forgiving rewind system. The, as I said, there's unique puzzle mechanics built around those paradoxes. So like again, you see your character from 5 minutes ago, and you have to stay away from them. But like what you did in the past helps you in the future, or what you did in the future helps you in the past. That kind of like crazy time stuff. It's very. I think the best part of this game is the stylish comic book inspired visuals. Like I think that's what catches everybody's eye right off the bat, and that's what caught my eye, and that's why I wanted to get it. And I think the voice acting in this game is actually very good. There's a lot of personality and charm to the voice acting for such a cheap, small indie game. I mean, I got this game for $3. I think this game's what $5 overall, and I got it on sale for 3 when it because every time a new indie game comes on Steam, they like to release it for a couple dollars cheaper. Um, I'm not sure how much it initially was, but I think it's very cheap. I think it's like $5. And short length is a pro and a con, which I'll talk about. You can enjoy this nice, cool puzzle game, beat it in like 30 minutes, and then play multiple times. This game is meant to be replayed multiple times. This game has a lot of replayability. It's not meant for you to just beat it and then move on. Like there's a rank system, like you can like how well you do. It goes all the way to S. So like there's if you want to get that S ranking, I got an A ranking. I beat this game a couple times now, and I got A ranking. So it's meant to be replayed. So it's definitely very very short, and some people might I guess not like that. But for $3 that I got it for, being short doesn't really bother me. If this game was $45 or $50, then yeah, that'd be an issue, right? But it's a short little tiny indie game. It's a nice experience. It's not like going to be a top 10 game for me. It's not a game of the year contender, but it's just a cool indie game that I'd recommend people play if they like this genre. With that said, I'm not a puzzle person. There were sometimes I used a guide because I was just like, I have no idea. This is not my genre. So, like, there's that. You have to like this genre. Dory, I don't think you'll particularly like the mechanics that much. It's not your genre
Yeah.
either. I think you should try it because it's literally a 30-minute game, so there's no
Yeah.
harm in trying it.
Sure.
But it's really not my kind of game. Any questions about the pros though?
I mean, you were talking about the rewind mechanics and the puzzles and stuff. I mean, and you had to look at a guide and stuff. So I'm guessing the puzzles aren't easy or simple, or
Well, some of them are
find...
fine. It's just some to do certain actions that you want, you have to do certain things. Like there's a section where like you have to time like dropping a boulder on the dog that's chasing you, and like I didn't know you can do that. Well, a guide kind of thing. Like,
Gotcha.
So no, let me be clear. I did beat the game first without a guide, and then the second time to get certain achievements and things like that, I used the guide. So that's what I mean. So I didn't have to use a
Okay.
guide, so it's not that obscure. All right, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not that crazy. It's not one of those crazy puzzle games. It's not The Witness. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
all right. Any other questions about the pros?
No, that all the pros made sense to me.
Yeah. So cons again, the short runtime. Some people might want more. I think it's fine for a $3 game. Again, I got that for sale. I think the biggest problem for me maybe is this no save system. So if your game crashes or like your power went out or something, you basically have to start the whole game over. And some time-based puzzles and story beats can be confusing or awkward. Some of the story can be a little confusing, and some time issues. Any questions about the cons?
No, again, Makes all sense to me. I appreciate a good runtime. How long did it take you to beat it the first time? Like an hour or 45 minutes or something?
35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're kidding. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I knew this was an indie game. It was going to be a bit shorter, but I didn't expect like under an hour short. That's wild.
Well, again, it's meant to be replayed, so it really is 3 to 5 hours if you because you're supposed to
Yeah.
do multiple playthroughs. Like that's the point of the
Oh,
game.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that got repetitive, like with when you playing it over and over again, or did it get easier and smoother, or
Definitely smoother, but still repetitive for me because I don't like playing games multiple times in a row like that. I generally like
sure?
to move on to the next game. I'm not a fan of replay mechanics generally.
Yeah.
But that's very subjective. For me, I don't like a game that wants me to play the game 5 times in a row. Like I'll get sick of it. For me, and I feel like that's the same for you
Right. Yeah, I
generally.
don't usually go back and replay games.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to recommend it for you, but again, it's like it's such a small, fast game, and I think you really enjoy the comic book style and the story and the quirkiness of it. And it's really creative, and the visuals are really fun and pop, and the voice acting is fun. I think you'll like it just from that. But I don't think for either of us
Okay.
it's going to be some massive game of the year contender or best
No,
indie game of the year or
doesn't
anything.
sound like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend it. There's a lot of depth to it, like especially if you're alcohol and if you have issues with that, and you have connection to that. There's some deep layers to this game, but I don't personally, and the story didn't like make me emotional or anything, but it's there. So just keep that in mind. So maybe it will trigger some people. So it is there. All right. All right. Next game is Kejora, which I think you would like it a bit more because it's more on your level. It
Right.
is a narrative-driven puzzle platformer. Now, the puzzle platformer part is where I think you would not like it, but it's not like the puzzles are very simple. It's about a young girl exploring a mysterious world caught in a time loop. So again, this game also has to do with paradoxes and time loops and things like that. As Kejora, you uncover memories, solve light puzzles with the help of companions, and slowly piece together what's really happening. It's story focused, emotional, and more about the journey than the challenge. This game is not a challenge at all. This is purely a
Hmm.
story driven game. The puzzles, at times you got to think about what do you want me to do, but I have never got. There was not one time I was stuck for like 25 minutes and I had to look up a guide. I always figured it out somehow. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's do the pros. I really like the hand drawn. It's different. It's very different from other games. Now the hand drawn is a little mixed. Some of it looks cheap. It doesn't look. It kind of looks like someone did a Microsoft Paint at times. But I really appreciate like the anime Asian art style to it. I really liked it overall. I think that carries the game more than anything else. I think that's what drew both of us in is the Studio Ghibli style to it. The cool time loop concept adds a really nice mystery to the game. I won't say what's going on because that would be a spoiler, but there is a time loop going on, uh, and that was really interesting. The mystery of this game was actually quite good. I was very invested in the story. I was like, it has like several acts in this game, and I it kept me going. I pretty much played this whole game in one sitting. That's how good the story was. I mean, it wasn't like incredible story, but it was predictable and it made sense though. But it was predictable, but it made a lot of sense and it was fine. It made total sense to me and it was good. But one thing I really liked about it was the villain. I won't say the gender, but this person was very understandable why they did what they did. Something really traumatic happened to them, and it made sense why they did a really bad action. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to ruin it for you, Dory. But I think this game has a lot of emotional depth. Actually, for such a small, tiny, short, 3 hour like narrative game, the villain is very understandable. Um, there's a really strong atmosphere and vibes to this game. This is a low key horror game. This is a horror game. Um, but in a friendly way. Like there's nothing like absurdly gross or like no one's getting murdered or like no one's the children are not getting like killed in a fairly violent way or anything like that. The main thing with this game is this is a stealth game too, and there's times where you're in the woods and there'll be giant monsters walking around, and you have to stealth behind like a tree or a bush, and when they walk away, you just walk to the right. This game is very linear. There's really nowhere to explore. You can only go where the game wants you to go. In this whole game, you go up and you go left and right. 99% of this game is left and right. You go left and right, and there's times where you'll go up a ladder or go down a ladder or like go through like a different hallway section. But you just do that by clicking down. It takes you to another map. So this whole game is literally just left and right side scroller. That's all this game is. And you solve puzzles in terms of like in the puzzle. When I say puzzles, it's like find a key, unlock the door, or you need to build a trap to fight the monster. So grab this log or stick, or grab a piece of leaf and make this trap. So it's really simple. I like the cast of characters. Kejora is a cool protagonist, and her friends all work off each other very well. There's a mysterious guy in this game as well. I think he's a really cool like side character as well, and I really enjoyed the cast of characters. So just to wrap up my pros, I really like the art style. Story was compelling and emotional at times. Pretty dark, but not too dark. Very family friendly dark. I appreciate that it's like an Indonesian game. It's different, Usually I don't play a lot of Indonesian games, so it's cool seeing some different culture. And it's a fun playthrough for like 3 hours. It's a cool mystery, story, narrative driven game for 3 hours. It's worth the money if you're into that genre. So, any questions about the pros?
No, it sounds really good. I think it'll be a game I probably play sometime in February as one of my shorter games. What I'm doing right now is I'm playing a short game, then playing a long game, which was Trails, and then playing going back to a short game before I do it all over again. So trying to keep that balance, and I feel like Kejora would be great for that. So I'll probably check it out sometime in February.
Gotcha. All right. So the cons. The biggest problem with this game is the gameplay. The controls in this game are not great. So how it works is you control Kejora. You just go left and right, walk. As I explained, but you do control her two best friends. One friend is like a martial artist and he can punch things, and he's also strong enough where like there's gonna be times where you want to climb a rock, he like throws you up. So you use him to do those things, and then you have the other friend who's strong and he like pushes the rock. He pushes things like a crate or a box or a rock or something like that. You have to hit a certain button to control the both of them, and using the stick and things like that. It can be very finicky. There's times where like if one of your characters gets in the way, the button prompt doesn't pop up, and you have to move characters to the left just to get them out of the way. It's a little finicky. It doesn't work like they intended. I wish the controls for that were a bit better for sure. I think the gameplay is a bit clunky. The gameplay and the puzzles are very simple, so that might be a con for some people. Like it's incredibly simple. Like this is a pure story game. Some of the puzzles kind of feel drag it out. I think the final section with the backtracking and climbing the ladders and moving the crane, things like that were just too long. Like sometimes we're like, can this crane go a little faster? Like if you put the crane in the wrong spot and it goes down, it misses it. You have to wait for the whole animation to go back up, and then little things like that. This game feels like a budget. This is a very low budget game. You can tell this is a very small indie team. I don't know how many people working on this game, but you can tell that this is a very low budget game, especially because of the sound design. This game has no voice acting, and the sound design is very limited. Like this game is just sound effects and music, and even the music's not anything amazing. It's a very bare bones sound design to this game. There's some few bugs and rough edges here and there, but I didn't really have any encounters with that. I think everything ran pretty smooth. The big thing for me was just the gameplay. the controls being I think the controls are the biggest weakness of this game. The clunkiness of controlling the both friends. Uh, and then the short experience can be a con because the story is strong, like the villain reveal and why that person did it, and then it kind of just I think everything gets resolved too fast, and I kind of rushes to the end. Unfortunately for me, in my opinion, so yeah, this is a very story driven game, and I think the gameplay is the weakness of this game. So it's clunky, and this game is more very low budget, overall. Any questions about the cons, Dory?
No, it makes sense to me. A small indie team, like you said, probably not a huge budget for incredibly intrinsic, not intrinsic, but more complicated control scheme.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a little bit of a bummer that there's not, at least a better soundscape to work with. But to me, at least, most of these cons are pretty minor. So it seems like overall, I'd have a good time with it.
Yeah, these are minor. The big thing is just the controls. Like I think you might get
Yes.
frustrated
Yep.
with the controlling the two boys.
I don't remember getting too frustrated in the demo, but
It's
it's
not
also
even
been a while.
even
Yeah.
then. It's not that frustrating. I had almost no problem like 90% of the time. There was
Sure.
just some moments where like a character got in the way and you had to teleport them the other way because
Yeah.
it wouldn't work properly. Sometimes the button presses don't register. The prompt's not popping up for me. It was like mild annoyances that added up, but
Yeah. That
still
makes sense.
not anything bad. So
Okay.
overall, I would give both games that I talked about an 8 out of 10. I feel like they're really good games. I think maybe Kejora is like a 7.5 or 7. Starfield 8. How about that? Um, it's a good game. I wouldn't say it's a great game, so I wouldn't say 8. Let's say Kejora is like a 7 out of 10, and then Hank is an 8 out of 10 for its genre. So yeah. Let's
Cool.
get to Trails in the Sky, first chapter, which I'm actually very curious about because obviously I bought this game and I'm very excited to play it. I heard really good things about it, so I'm curious on your take on it. So go ahead.
It's peak. It's not peak. It is very good though. It is very good. Everything you've heard about this game is true. The soundtrack is great. The combat is excellent. This is I didn't play the original 2004. I can't speak to how faithful it is or how much the improvements enhanced everything, but this feels like a game that came out last year, like to me, with all the improvements and stuff like that. Let me get into my pros and cons. So first off, I have 10 pros and I have 10 cons. That makes it sound like the game is mid as fuck, but I promise you it's not. All of my pros are very, very high level. Like these are essential parts of a game that should be good. And my cons are like nitpicks, bottom of the barrel nitpicks. There's a couple of things I think that are milder or more important than others, but anyway, we'll get into it. So let me start with my first pro. The combat's awesome. You change from turn-based to real-time RPG combat very fluidly. It's exciting. You can stun enemies. You can pick battles whenever you want. There's no randomness to it, which is very nice. You control how much it happens and how much it doesn't. If you want to sign up for an extra optional boss fight, that's always a possibility too. It's just great. It's done really well. And what makes it even better is you have the ability to move around during combat. So you can fight enemies completely in third person, or not third person, but in like action RPG format and just win battles like that. But it's meant to be like you do that at the beginning and you wear enemies down and then you stun them and then you go into turn-based mode so you can finish them off. Um, and then in turn-based mode, you can move around in the combat arenas. So you can attack enemies from the side, you can attack them from behind, you can aim for the elemental weaknesses. These are very basic RPG things, but they coalesce very nicely, and they give that added depth to the combat, such that I feel it really improves the combat system even further. Boss encounters are slick, they're highly stylized, they're very satisfying to beat. I almost never had a situation where I lost to a boss over and over and over again. I think the most I ever lost to a fight was like 3 times, I want to say, which is pretty fair in a JRPG, especially. Honestly, if we're going to talk difficulty real quick, the beginning of the game is arguably the hardest part. because in the remake they made the bosses and the opening areas for some reason a little harder than it is in the original. I'm not saying it's like incredibly tough, but you only have two characters. Your options are limited. You don't have as many arts or ornaments as you do later in the game. Of course, you can't heal or revive as much as you can later in the game. Yada yada. So there are reasons for that. I died, I think, more frequently in the beginning, first few hours, than I did in this back half of the game. But it wasn't like so bad it was horrible. Plus, they have this nice thing that returns me to another pro, where like if you die, you can retry. You can retry with reduced enemy strength. I don't know if that changes the difficulty. The game's not clear about that. But to me, it tricks my brain because I'm like, oh, I'm not changing the difficulty. That's great. I'll just reduce enemy strength. I'm probably changing the difficulty. But they don't say that. So it tricks my brain into making me feel better about it. Now, to be clear, it's fine if anybody does that. But I get very stubborn about video games. That's a me thing, not a it should be a you thing. The graphics are beautiful. I never had a single crash. I never had any bugs. I never had any problems. This is a remake of a 20-plus-year-old game. They did it right. It ran absolutely beautifully on my PC. I never had any FPS drops. I never had any problems. I know it's an anime game. It's not hyper realistic, so maybe that helps. But I mean, I calls it as I sees it. It's a beautiful game. If you like anime, it looks great. The controls are generally intuitive and fun. I have some nitpicks here and there, which we'll talk about later, but generally speaking, everything made sense to me on my Xbox controller. Actually, I was having some problems with my Nitro controller, so I got this 8-bit Do controller from Best Buy for about $40, and it's great. I love the little the part here underneath the controller. It's so good, and then you can have it be wireless or control or hooked up. It's very cool. But anyway, we're not sponsored, by the way. They're not paying me to say that. But yeah, the controls are fun. I feel like it always made sense with what I was supposed to do. As I went on in the game, I figured out more and more. I'd say the voice acting generally solid. I There are some canned lines here and there, especially like if you're at a merchant. Like I love Shara. She's a great character for various reasons. But she like said like Estelle, one of the main characters, will be like, "What to pick? What to pick?" And Shara, in the most like I don't give a shit voice of all time, will be like, "Which one are you gonna pick?" And like I had to do a lot of shopping at one point when I had Shara, and I swear to fuck, I heard this line like 10 times, and like I was like, "Shara, please stop saying this line." Um, but anyway, there's some canned lines, is what I'm saying. But generally speaking, the writing is solid, and the voice acting, I mean, is solid, and the writing usually backs it up. There's a lot of enemy variety. I don't think I ever fought the same enemies that I fought in previous regions, or if I did, they were so different as to not bother me. I feel like recently the RPGs I've been playing, like Outer Worlds and Avowed, have not had the enemy variety I've really wanted. This really does. So I appreciate that. The soundtrack, I mean, it's a fucking JRPG. What do you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you it's a bad soundtrack? Get the fuck out of here. It's a great soundtrack. Now it's not Expedition 33. It's not Final Fantasy. I'm not saying it's going to change your life, but it is really good. There are various songs going through my head right now that I could definitely hum or like think about and like smile. Lots of great bops for like bosses and stuff like that. Just solid stuff. Nothing incredible, but great stuff across the board. The themes that this game tackles are very heady, very relevant, and they're handled with a poise that I think a lot of JRPGs wishes they could. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying it couldn't be better, but I think in general, Trails handles issues of politics, international law, military, expectations of children versus your father. There's a lot of heavy shit this game gets into, especially in the back half, because of course JRPG, so everything kind of goes to shit, as it were. Um, and then lastly, high speed mode. I just have to say it, high speed mode. If you're not familiar, you can press the two triggers at the top at the same time, and all the characters move like 2 times faster, if not 4 times faster. This is a literal game changer. I can't even begin to tell you how often I used high speed mode after I figured it out. It makes turn-based combat so much more fun. It makes action combat so much better. It makes cutscenes that go on for a little bit because the animations are kind of slow, to be honest with you. It just helps that a lot. It's such a good implement. I hope more JRPGs use this because I would use it all the time. I think the only reason I beat this game in 40 hours or roughly that is because of high speed mode. I also want to say in general, the game respects your time. Like the not only is high speed mode like probably one of my biggest highlights of the game, but also they do these little green text bubbles when the characters are recapping what we already know and they're just telling the other player or the other characters or whatever. And then you don't have to waste like minutes of a cutscene being like, okay, I already know this shit. Like you've already told us, like we already know. And they just say like Estelle and Joshua told their father that such and such happened back in the city, and it's all in green text. So they're just summarizing, right? And that's so helpful. You can skip one cutscene, or you can skip all cutscenes in a given, series of scenes, which is so cool. You don't see video games do that very often. I appreciate that. I didn't use it, of course. It was my first playthrough. Why would I do that? But I still appreciated it being there, especially if you want to do New Game Plus, which is available. I will not be playing it. That is 40 hours. I'm not investing. And then the coolest thing is that you can have Steam as a loader. Obviously, it runs games, duh. But you can specifically have it every time Trail starts. You don't have to start it from the main menu. You can start it from a recently saved game. This blew my mind. I've never seen a game do this. This game respects my time so much. I feel like I should have put more than 40 hours. Like How Long to Beat says main and side stuff is 56 hours. I somehow beat Trails. I did pretty much every side quest, every optional thing. I found most of the treasure chests. I did a lot of achievements, not all of them, but I would say about around 50%, which is a lot for me. And it only took me 40 hours. So this is a game that really respects your time. I know some people don't like that phrase, but for me, it's really important, especially for my speedrunner inclinations. I love this game. But anyway, those are all my pros. Seb, did you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, how's the story, and what is the story of this game?
Oh, yeah. So Estelle and Joshua are the children of a bracer. Now, bracers are basically adventurers, and they go around helping people, helping kingdoms and stuff. And they are the children of he's voiced by Gohan's voice actor, actually, Kyle Hebert. And so every time he's talking, I was like, Gohan, what are you doing here, bro? But he basically he goes away for a big mission in a nearby empire. And so Joshua and Estelle, his children, go around from junior bracers to become senior bracers. And so to do that, you have to go get letters of recommendation from all the different towns. And so, of course, that sets up the rest of the plot, which I don't want to go too much into, but I've already talked about. It has to do with international politics. And basically, like, the place they live is like some kind of modern-ish, steampunky liberal nation state, but with like autocratic rules. It's very strange. Like the norms that they have are very like progressive and liberal, but like the people in power are like kings and queens. It's very strange. And there's steampunk. That's a big part of it too, is the setting has a lot of mechanical stuff, which is how it kind
Yeah,
of
I mean,
differentiates itself. Yeah.
it's a JRPG. Like,
Yeah.
Look.
It's a JRPG. Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go
Um,
ahead the cons, please.
Sure. If I had one major con, I want to introduce you to the country of Japan that thinks it's very funny and very cool and very awesome to have adopted siblings in the same game so that they can have awkward romance plots. I don't like these. They aren't funny. They aren't cute. I know that the game came out in 2004. I don't want this in my life. I know that they're not technically related. They don't even have the same last name, but they grew up together and they call each other family, and it's really weird, and I don't like it. I wish it didn't I just wish it wasn't in the game. I just wish that they were just siblings and friends, but instead we've got this weird, awkward romance thing. It's set up very early. I'm not really spoiling anything here, and I'm not even saying what happens. But just to say, ew, it's just kind of weird. It's not. I'm not going to say it ruined the game, but every time they brought it up, I was like, can we go on to something else? I don't want to do this. Um, And then here's another thing too. I love the writing in general. I do have a major problem with the writing. Uh, the withholding information trope is all over this fucking game because it's setting up a second chapter. There's so many mysteries and character arcs and little plots and like villains and shit that they don't want to quite pull the trigger on, but they want to like show you Chekhov's gun about. And they'll do it over and over and over. And I'm like, motherfucker, can you just be open and honest with your adopted sister and tell her what's going on in your life? And it's not just Joshua. Other people in the game do it too, where they'll have a realization and another character will be like, what's going on? And they'll be like, it's nothing. Or like, I'll tell you later. Or like, I'm like, just fucking tell them now. Like, it didn't bother me at first. But after 40 hours of a game, and you start to notice these tropes over and over again, I'm like, God damn it. It just pissed me off. But anyway, I do feel like even with high speed movement, combat can get repetitive at times. Sometimes I did feel like, oh, like I'm fighting this enemy again. But generally that wasn't a problem. But every now and then kind of I was like, okay, let's run by these enemies. I'm not fighting them
Pretty
again.
much an unavoidable problem in JRPGs. Like that tends to be an issue in RPGs. Yeah,
absolutely. I do feel like a couple parts, especially halfway through the game, felt a little bit like a filler arc. They weren't bad. There's literally a school festival arc in the middle of the game, and I'm like, isn't the world like in trouble? Like, what are we? I had like kind of a Mass Effect problem
RPG,
where I was like,
RPG.
Yep. Classic JRPG, right? Again, this came out in 2004, so classic JRPG problem.
The world's about to end tomorrow, but let's have a party and do a side quest.
Yeah, let's do an academic festival. Who cares about the
disco party?
Let's just have a play. And anyway, it was still good, but I just felt like, okay, I feel like this is not necessary. There's also, I didn't know where to put this, but there are 2 forced stealth sections in the game. Now they're very brief. And you can save at any time. Thank God. Thank Adios. But the god of the game. It was the first one was fine. I got through the first one okay, but the second one, where everything is kind of on a military lockdown, I hated it so much. You get caught so easily. I don't even know how I got past the part. I think I just fucking did a mad dash and I got super lucky. So I didn't. They were very brief and they only happened twice out of the 40 hours. So I'm not saying it happens a lot, but
yeah,
it sucked.
I hate forced stealth sections in games.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, it sends you right back to the beginning. But again, luckily you can save whenever you want. So you can, if you're halfway through the stealth section,
that's good.
You can just save right there. Yeah, so it's not as bad. Trust me, this would be number one if that was the case.
Yeah.
I have some combat issues. Sometimes I'm like, can I play the game? Is that okay? Like, can I just fucking play it? Because sometimes bosses will go into this state called rage mode, and they'll just go from 1 turn to like 5 turns. I'm like, that's cool. Can I play the game now? Is that okay? Like, gung ho, can I play the fucking game? Like, what are we doing? And they'll just get attack after attack, and then they'll wipe out one of my party members, and then guess what? They're now faster than my other party members that are remaining, so they'll get another turn, and then they'll freeze me, and they'll get another turn.
You can't.
And it's like,
like you can't heal. It's not fair for a boss to heal itself or cast haste on itself or whatever. Like that's not fair.
Yeah.
I hate when bosses get like.
They basically, most bosses in the back half of the game, I want to say even in the first third of the game, are able to, when they're about half health, maybe 25%, I don't remember, go into like this rage state where they up their speed, up their defense, up their attack, of course. And it's just maddening. And it's like, it's the one problem I have with the game where I'm like, this just feels kind of unfair. Now, that said, it does make the battles more exciting. And I did, like, survive some by the skin of my teeth. It's not a huge issue. And again, if you fail, you can retry with reduced enemy strength. So it's like, it's not the end of the world, but it does feel a little cheap. And yeah, like Seb said, enemies definitely heal themselves too. Although I didn't get as annoyed about that in this game. That's always a bugaboo for me and a pet peeve. But for some reason, it didn't seriously bother me this game. I don't know why. Anyway, moving on. There are some oof moments, like just parts of this plot that have not aged well. Like, for example, I love Olivier. I love him to death. He is amazing. He's voiced by Matt Mercer, of course, Critical Role, Leon Kennedy, right? Great guy. Whew. Olivier just kind of hits on anything that moves, including people who are not fully adults yet. And it's just uncomfortable. And I'm just like, dude, I really like you as a character. Can you not? Can you not? So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Um, I'm almost done with the cons, and then we can move on. The map can be a little tricky. Sometimes I'm like the placement of the objective marker is like in the building, and you're like, okay, I'm in the building. Where is it? And it'll be like all the way outside of the map, and you're like, okay, I guess it's a level above me, below me, where? And you can't cycle between the levels on your map, so you don't know. So it's not a major issue, but it's a problem I had every now and then. Um, and then the orbments. So, like I said, this is steampunk, right? And so you use these little orb things to cast magic. I don't understand how the fuck it works. I'm gonna be real. I never understood the orbment system. You're supposed to like line up certain elements together to unlock new slots for orbments. I don't get it. Even after 40 hours, I hadn't completely unlocked everybody's orbment slot. I don't know. I just felt like they could have explained that more. There's some voice acting, lip flapping, voice matching stuff that's kind of off. It's to be expected, I suppose. It's originally a Japanese game, but it's a little distracting. And then the last thing, there's a lot of plot twists in this game. There's a lot of characters aren't who they say they are trope, and it kind of similar to Metal Gear Solid 3. It just kind of gets a little tiring. Where I'm like, okay, I didn't see that coming, but also I feel like there was no way I could have seen that coming, and also this feels unnecessary. Just introduce a new character. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's from the same
It's just kind
era.
of obsessed with like, oh, what's that?
It's from the same era, so.
Yeah, from the same era for sure. It's very obsessed with that character that you thought, and I'm being very vague because I don't want to spoil anything. But like, that character you thought you knew isn't exactly, and not always for the worst, right? But generally, just is holding dark secrets or has a secret past or blah blah blah. But anyway, there were some cool plot twists. I will say that I didn't see coming, but sometimes I was also like, this feels unnecessary. It just feels like you're doing this just for shock value. And that's it. That's my whole thing. If I had to give this a rating, shit, I don't know, 9 out of 10, 9.5. It's very good. It's excellent. No, I'd give it a 9, a strong 9 out of 10. It's an excellent game. And I overall had a brilliant time with it. As made clear by my cons, I do have some nitpicks. They're very minor, very, very minor. I can't wait for a second chapter. I'm there day one. Seb and I might even split it if he plays it by then. I'm very excited for second chapter. So
You're gonna play the second one this year, or you feel like you're gonna feel
yeah,
like
second chapter is coming out this year, so I'll probably play it. I don't think it's coming out this year.
It is. I'm just saying, like, maybe you were burned out with RPG, but you play the second one too.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I am planning on playing a lot of JRPGs this year, so it's possible I'll play second chapter next year and I'll be like, oh, I did it to myself again. This would have been in my top 5. I don't really know. I mean, I feel like another 40 hours game will be, I feel in terms of like the gameplay, I feel like it'll have diminishing returns. I can't imagine second chapter will be as good as first. Now, originally I thought that they split the original title into 2 chapters, like an 80-hour game. But I guess it was always a first chapter, second chapter kind of situation. I think second chapter came out in 2006 or something, 2008. I don't remember. I don't know. I wasn't playing these games back then.
Are you gonna
But
Are you gonna play the
yeah.
other Tales games too now, or you feel like you're just gonna do this?
I don't know.
Series.
That's a great question. I honestly don't know. I'd have to look into how well reviewed they are.
I keep
But
saying Tales. Trails.
yeah, I
Tales is
know
a different series.
there's Tales and Trails. But yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
No worries. All right, let's get to our final topic of the night, which is the Xbox Developer Direct 2026. So we got 4 games shown at the showcase. One of them being a surprise. That we didn't know there was a 4th game. We just didn't know what it was going to be. The other 3 we definitely knew. So let's start with the very first game shown, which is Forza Horizon 6. All right, so it launches on May 19th. That got leaked already. I don't know if it was an accident or something, but we already knew that. There is a PS5 version coming out because, of course, there is. The first one, Horizon 5, was like the highest selling game on PlayStation last year, I want to say. So it was a huge seller. So of course they're gonna put it on PlayStation. I'm curious why it's coming out to the PlayStation later on in this year and not day one, but not a huge deal, I suppose. So, what is Forza Horizon 6? It's the next big entry in the open world racing series. This time, it's heading to Japan, which has been a very huge fan requested location. People have been asking for that for a long time. It has urban streets, mountain passes, neon lights, and iconic landmarks. It's shaping up to be the largest map in series history, which is crazy because the fifth one was huge. With sprawling environments ranging from dense city districts to lush countryside and famous landscape players can explore freely. What did you think of that, Dory? I mean, I know you're not going to play this game, you're not really a racing fan, but what did you think of the visuals and the whole environment of this game and all that?
Yeah, I was definitely very impressed by the visuals. Obviously, I have a great love of Japan, right? Especially because of anime. I was very impressed by how it looked, and the attention to detail, how much they did. They have a cultural consultant, which I thought was a very nice touch. They talked to a lot of people in the Tokyo, racing scene, which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, this the nicest thing I can say is this looks like a great game. That's absolutely not for me.
Yeah. So instead of jumping as a season pro in as a season pro, you begin the game as a tourist in Japan, earning your place in the Horizon Festival by competing in races and events to climb the ranks and unlock new opportunities. Players will have over 550 cars at launch. Although I believe it's like a whole game price for the DLC. I want to say I just read that today.
Oof.
That was big news. Let me pull it up. Dory, can you
I
do
had
that?
not heard that.
Can you look that up for me? Why I think it's a premium upgrade for $60. Can you look that up for me
Sure.
while I'm doing the notes?
Yeah.
So players will have over 550 cars at launch, customizable homes and garages, and new event types. You'll have deep customization options for paint jobs, body kits, and more, plus new features like updated steering animations and real tire wear. A standout new feature is the estate, which is a customizable piece of land where you can build whatever you want, from sprawling garages to personal tracks, all of it permanent and shareable with friends in your game sections. That part was really awesome. I think that's really fun and really
Here's
cool.
what I found from
Go
Xbox.com.
ahead.
Says Forza Horizon 5 Premium Edition, $50. Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon 5 Premium Edition bundle is
Well,
$80.
the six.
Oh, it's 6?
Yeah, Horizon 6,
Uh,
not 5.
oh, it's 6. Okay, I was looking at the wrong one. Let me.
Yeah, I think it's this premium. I think the premium upgrade is $60. Off the top of
Yeah,
my
you
head.
might be right. Give me 1 second. I'm just about to find out. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's the same price as a full game. But this
Yeah,
game's gonna have
pretty
long
much.
legs, so makes
Yeah.
sense. Not not that I love that, but it makes sense.
Yep.
Uh, and then they showed a Gundam at the very end, which no surprise. I mean, it's Japan, and I hope to see Godzilla at some point as well. I mean, I'm a sucker for that. I mean, I don't like racing games generally, but Forza Horizon is my exception, and I'm very looking forward to driving through Japan. And I love Japan so much, and the scenery looks incredible. And I'm gonna get a steering wheel. I'm gonna have a good time with it. It could be my top 10 games of the year. This game is the game of the year contender. I think it's gonna be. I mean, Horizon 5 was in the 90s in Metacritic. I think this game's gonna be a highly rated game as well. Just the unfortunate thing about racing games is they never have a chance of winning game of the year. This is a genre that always gets like just dismissed and just thrown
Yeah.
into the sports category. But I think Horizon 5 really deserved to be a nominee. Like it had a serious case, I think, to be
Yeah.
in Keeley's top 6 at the Game Awards. I think this game is the same thing. I think this game looks absolutely incredible, and it's just not going to be for Dory. It's really not for me. Horizon is just my one exception. Forza Horizon is my exception. So I'm very excited for this game. I think the game looked incredible, and this is a great way to start off the show. Any other points about Forza, Dory?
I just want to mention the accessibility. I think this is super cool. They talk about the contrast visual styles that you can have for people with blindness, I want to say, and color issues as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's really neat. Again, team seems very dedicated. Shame about the price point with the premium stuff, but whatever. Again, looks like a great game. That is absolutely not for me. I've never been into these simulation drivers. I just think it's very, very boring. But that's me. I was always more of a Burnout person than a Gran Turismo person. Even as a young kid, I tried Gran Turismo and I
Yeah.
hated it. Yeah.
This one's less simulation compared to like motorsport. Motorsport's like full on just drive a track. Like this one's more like
Right.
just drive around the city and explore, basically.
Right.
But yeah, I get you. All right, but the next game definitely appeals to both of us. I would say this
Yes.
is definitely more your alley because it's being an action RPG. This is Beast of Reincarnation, which is a new action RPG from Game Freak, the studio best known for Pokemon. But this is very different from the usual work. It is set in a post-apocalyptic Japan in the far future, where mysterious corruption has transformed the world and its creatures into dangerous threats. You play as Emma, an outcast afflicted by a strange condition that gives her plant-based powers, but erases her memories and emotions. She wanders the ruined landscape fighting monstrous enemies to protect what's left of humanity. Alongside her is Ku, her loyal dog companion, and in a twist, Ku has been transformed into a powerful creature himself. Together they form a bond that drives both the story and gameplay. So let's talk about the story and the setting and all that first. What did you think of what you saw from that?
Do you like Nier Automata? Do you like plants? Are you interested in dogs? Do I have the fucking game for you? I'm very excited. I also laughed when Game Freak was like, sure, we're known for Pokemon, but we've also done Unintelligible. I'm like, what are these titles, guys? Come on. You've done Pokemon. Just hold your head up high and say, we invented motherfucking Pokemon, and that's what you know us from. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is really cool. I think this is really cool. I definitely get big Nier Automata vibes, especially with the soundtrack. Some sounds that remind me of Yoko Taro and his work on that. Obviously, he didn't make the music, but you know what I mean. The post-apocalyptic kind of vibes and it being in Japan is really cool. Emma is able to, of course, she's special, so she's able to cure the plants and make and bring them inside of her. I'm sure that'll have no long-term ramifications throughout the story, and it'll go totally fine for her. And Ku also trusts her and is like her companion. And they are basically trying to kill the Beast of Reincarnation, which I guess is spawning all these plant monsters.
Yeah.
So that was my understanding of the story.
Yeah. I mean, I could see people saying this game borrows from a lot of things, and it doesn't do anything that different, really. I mean,
Right.
the concept of like healing a corrupted land has been done before. Having a dog companion.
Well, actually, Seb, it is the first ever one person, one dog RPG. So maybe you should reassess your thought there. You know what I mean?
One person, one dog.
Whatever it is, that's what they basically said. They were like one person, one dog RPG, or so. It was like some fucking Death Stranding bullshit.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like Final Fantasy 16, Ghost of Yotei. I mean, what are we doing here?
This game, this is not criticism of me because I think it's fine. But like, yeah, I could see people being like, "Well, this just looks like Nier mixed with Final Fantasy mixed with Stellar Blade." I mean, it's the exact same post-apocalyptic world of Stellar Blade where everything's destroyed and grass everywhere, and Nier like that's pretty much this exact same setting as Nier as well. Actually, in fact, everybody compared Stellar Blade to Nier as well, didn't they? So I don't think it's a big deal.
It was so obvious of the parallels that they even did a crossover event, right, with DLC and stuff.
Literally,
like that. Yeah. Right. So they literally had the traveling salesman, and they did some skins and stuff like. I mean, you know, it was right there.
Yeah.
Not that they were trying to hide it or whatever, but yeah, I think it's very similar here with Game Freak. I think what's wildest of all is in the year of our Lord 2026, I'm interested in the Game Freak game again, and it has nothing to do with Pokemon. I mean, I know people really liked ZNA, and there were some defenders of Scarlet and Violet, but just not for me, really, not the kind of Pokemon I really want anymore. I'm more interested in like remakes of classics at this point.
Well,
I'm very simple.
well,
But
their presentation was very like, oh my god, we're finally free. We're finally able to make something we're very passionate about and spent years
yeah,
on.
yeah, that's really what it sounded like.
Yeah, because it's like we're not getting whipped and making Pokemon games in 9 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't have to like sacrifice our blood to make fucking plushies to go to the bring
Yeah,
to the Pokemon Center
we don't have to
anymore.
cut our wrists and give blood to Pikachu to, that kind
Yeah, yeah,
of. That's what it felt like. I think this game looks really awesome. Just in terms,
yes,
well, we haven't even gotten to the gameplay yet, which I think is where it really
yeah,
shines. But like the story and the setting and everything about it just looks really awesome, and I'm really into it. The Nier comparison makes me excited because I love Nier.
yes, agreed.
Gameplay wise, so it has fast sword based attacks, while Ku supports with powerful abilities unlocked through cooperative play. Battle mixes real time sword play with moments where time slows and you can issue commands, giving the game a tactical edge. I think this makes the combat like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake,
Yes, I had the same exact thought while rewatching the trailer. I was watching it, but I think I was
which
playing
I think is
Trails at
amazing.
the same time.
Which I
Yeah,
think,
I think it's awesome.
yeah, because
I
like,
think it's a great system. I'm glad that
right.
other RPGs are doing it.
Yeah, it's a great balance of turn-based and action. So it appeals to everybody, and the gameplay of this game is where it really shines. Even if the story and the setting and all that or whatever is not the greatest, if the gameplay carries it, this should be a really fun, good game. Like that, the gameplay is king, and I think the gameplay really shines from what I'm seeing. The boss fights look awesome, and the really cool designs and cool mechanics,
The
and
combat looks so fluid and it looks
yeah,
really fun. I have no idea how difficult this game is supposed to be, but
yeah.
they never said anything about. I mean, I don't think they said anything. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they never said anything about like soul crushingly hard bosses or anything like
No,
that.
I didn't see anything
Certainly
like that.
challenging, but yeah, I didn't sense any kind of the Souls influence there. It feels more like a back to basics action RPG. Um, but yeah, and what's cool too is that Ku and Emma, not only do they have their own skill trees, which is cool, but their skill trees impact each other, which I think is also interesting. So and that you can kind of have that in Ghost of Yote, but it's not quite as intersectional as what they're making it sound like
Yeah,
in Yote.
yeah. So the story and the theme center on trust and loneliness and uncovering secrets in a world where nature has reclaimed civilization. The journey pushes you through overgrown forests, ruined cities, and corrupted landscapes as you seek to face the titular beast of reincarnation itself. So that's probably gonna be the final boss or something like that, right? And then it's scheduled for summer of this year, and it's coming to everything but Switch, and it will be on Game Pass day one. So we don't have a
That is
set.
so funny. Wait a second, I never even thought about that. Everything but the Switch from Game Freak is so funny because
Yeah.
that's Nintendo. I never even thought about
Well,
that. That's
The
wild.
Switch would catch on fire.
Yeah, of course. I'm surprised then it's not a Switch 2 exclusive
Well,
or
even that.
something.
Well,
I don't know.
when I say
But
Switch, at this point, when I say Switch, I mean Switch Two, like
okay,
automatically,
fair
because
enough.
everybody's gonna buy it. If
Fair
you have a
enough.
Switch Two, you just play all the Switch One games on Switch Two.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of funny. But yeah, it looks great. I am excited for a Game Freak game in the year of our Lord 2026. It looks great. The combat looks cool. The story is interesting. Yes, obviously it takes a lot of influence from Nier, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I love Nier, and I would love a new Nier game. But they keep canceling Yoko Taro's games or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Putting his not putting his ideas through for some goddamn reason. Even though Nier Automata was so goddamn successful. But anyway, enough swearing and enough of that. I'm excited for Beast of Reincarnation. It looks great, and yeah, I'm very excited for this. I'm not saying it's going to be top 10. I'm not going to say I'm going to love it. I'm going to be paying attention to reviews, but I'm very interested.
Yeah. At the very least, I feel like it's gonna be an 8 out of 10. I just feel like it just has like really good quality to it. All right, so that's a good. So we all know Microsoft was trying to get more into Japan, and half their show was Japan focused. But now we switched to the more Western side, and we got the surprise game, which was, I don't know how do you pronounce it? Kiln?
It's Kiln.
Kiln?
It's Kiln.
Kiln. Anyway, it's a Double Fine game. It's a multiplayer party brawler with a quirky twist. You can craft your own character from pottery, mugs, bowls, teapots, you name it. The shape and size of your pot affects movements, abilities, and combat style. There's team-based matches where you carry water and try to douse the enemy's kiln. Encourages strategy and creativity, both in design and teamwork. It's lighthearted, chaotic, and perfect for playing with friends online. It's coming spring of this year on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 5, and not on Switch, and it's coming to Game Pass. What do you think of this game, Dory? I feel like when I thought of it, I'm like, I know Dory's not gonna like this, but
I hate to say this about a Double Fine game. Boy, this did absolutely nothing for me. It may be negative for me. I was kind of repulsed by this game. I hate saying that. I love Double Fine. I think they're one of the bright spots in the industry, and I want to support anything they do. I liked Keeper. I thought it was a pretty good game.
yeah,
And from what I played of Psychonauts, I enjoyed, and I loved Grim Fandango. But man, this is not really what I want to see from Double Fine. I hate to be that stodgy, like back in my day, Double Fine made single player games, but like this isn't what I want from Double Fine and the gang. I don't know. It's just absolutely not my thing. And I should be clear, by the way, good for them. I think it's cool that they're experimenting. I think it's awesome that they're going to appeal to different gamers. I think some people are going to love this. I know Double Fine poured their heart into it, into this nice little vase that they're all going to break. I think the setup was funny and was fun, and I don't know. I respect them for doing something completely different because
yeah. I just
this is very different from Keeper, very different from Psychonauts, very different from anything they've ever done, really. But unfortunately, it's just not for me. I really don't have much more to say than that.
yeah, like I love Double Fine. I love all their games, and this is nothing for me. But I appreciate that they have full creative freedom from Microsoft, and they can just do whatever they want and
Yeah.
not worry. So this might not be for me, but maybe another game will be for me in the future. So I appreciate that they had freedom to do things, and I love Tim Schafer. And I love his personality. I thought it was really, I thought their little live action skit was cute and fun. So I liked. I thought it was a little downer, and just in terms of like the surprise of the show was like something that wasn't for me at all, and like a little small quirky game. But like I'm not mad or anything like that. It was totally fine. It's just not for me. I like the idea of it though. It's a cool concept where you can fully customize your character however you want, and it changes the entire gameplay of the game. I don't know how much this game is gonna have an audience or not, but we'll see. But all right, so let's get to the final game of the show, which is Fable. So Fable is a brand new open world action RPG, and it's a fresh start for the series. It's a full reboot. It's not a sequel. It's a reboot. It's a start over for the whole series. If you don't know what Fable is, it's a classic series that launched on the original Xbox. It's one of the most beloved Xbox franchises. When I think of Xbox, well, of course, we think of Halo, Gears, and Forza, but I also think of Fable because I'm an old millennial, and just like the original game, it takes place in Albion. How do you say it? Albion? I think it's Albion. Albion.
You're asking the wrong
Yeah.
non-binary
But anyway,
person, but yeah, I think it's Albion.
I think
I
it's
don't know.
Albion. Anyway, I haven't played these games in so freaking long. I was a kid, and the world is full of magic. There's danger. There's humor, and the best part of Fable always has been you're able to fully explore and shape your own adventure however you want. That's the thing about Fable is you craft your own adventure. It always has like a storybook look to it. It always has really strong British humor, and it's not afraid to tackle major themes that are both lighthearted and dark. So, but we'll get into all that. It's developed by Playground Games, which people did Forza, so they got double showing at this showing. Crazy, right? Like one studio has like two major Game of the Year contenders coming out in the same year. So Obsidian can take a break from carrying Xbox like they did last year, and This game returns to the whimsical fantasy world with deep choice-driven storytelling, lively towns, and adaptive NPCs that react to your reactions. The world is alive with over 1,000 unique NPCs, each with their own routines, personalities, and interactions. How you treat them affects their opinion of you, making your choices meaningful and personal. It sounds like these choices in this game really, really matter, and your entire gameplay, your entire like playthrough is going to be completely different than other people. Like your playthrough is going to be completely different than mine. This game's probably going to be like a spoiler cast kind of game. There's
Yeah.
so, what do you think of like the NPCs, like the choice based system and the NPCs reacting to you?
Yeah, so for folks who don't know, I'm polyamorous, which means I don't really believe in monogamy. And, I think it's cool and fine to be in love or in relationship with multiple people as long as everyone's cool with it, of course. What I'm saying is, I will be marrying 1,000 different NPCs. I will be divorcing at least 500 of them, of course, for statistical consistency. But no, in all seriousness, I was very impressed. I did not grow up with Fable. I knew about Fable. G4 talked about them all the time. So I knew about it very much. I didn't know about Peter Molyneux and his outrageous claims about Fable, so that never affected my perception. I just never played it. I knew actually a completely different guy with the last name Molyneux, and he was a huckster too. But if you know, you know. But yeah, so just weird. Yeah, I never played Fable, so I don't have the nostalgia thing where people are like, oh my god, I thank you, Zena. I need this to be good. Like this has got to be good, man, from my childhood. And I'm like, I'm just not there. But I hope it's good. It looks good. I have some mild concerns about combat and FPS, but like later on, could just be an early build. They have until autumn, vaguely autumn, and honestly, they could push it back to 2027. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
To improve it. So I'm not that worried. Sometimes people just get rushed out the door with trailers, and you get suboptimal results. And to
yeah.
me, that doesn't speak necessarily about the whole game. But yeah, it enticed me for sure, and I'm more interested in it now.
Yeah, I love that there's over 1,000 NPCs and they all have their own like routines and personalities and interactions. Like that's insane, and
Yeah,
that's
I
how.
really wonder. I want to say for a second. I really wonder. I hope it's not like somebody said this on the IGN comments. Like, hopefully, it's not like a mile wide, inch deep kind of thing where like it's all very superficial and like. I mean, to some extent, that's fine, right? I don't want them like killing themselves over NPCs, but it does feel very like each of them are unique individuals. They all look different, have their own names, have their own personalities, backstories. I'm like, this is 1,000 NPCs we're talking about. Like, I don't know. Like,
It's
let's not Molyneux ourselves. Ironically, right? But yeah, I don't know. That's just a concern of mine. But go ahead.
it sounds like it's gonna be a major focus. Like it sounds like there's gonna be really uniqueness to it because like they use an example of the giant. Like what happens if you kill the giant or not? And people get mad at you either way, right? Because if you kill you kill the giant. Now there's a big corpse smelling the whole place up, and it's like, what do we do with this body just laying here? And then of course, if you kill the giant, he's gonna fall on people's houses. So people's houses got damaged are gonna blame you as well. Even though you just got rid of an obstacle and saved people from a giant, people are gonna blame you for that. On the other hand, if you let the giant go, people are gonna be like, "Why did you let this giant go?" And now we have a giant running around. So that kind of stuff is really awesome, and I love that, and that's what an RPG should be, where your choices matter and you have a different playthrough, and that's the magic, like Baldur's Gate 3, for example, right? When everybody has a different playthrough, and all these everything you do has a different branch and different pathways, and that's the fun of an RPG. So I'm very excited for that. This game, I love that this game has the same British humor as you expect from Fable. Fable is a very quirky, that sarcastic humor of England, of the UK. I love that humor, and Fable should have that humor, and it does. Um, I like that you can customize your character to however you want it to look. I know people didn't like the way the lady looked. I know there was a big debate about like making all the women ugly on purpose. It's a woke agenda to make every woman ugly, and it ends up being like a
Dumbasses.
ends up being a character creator anyway. Um, I like the storybook look to it. Like Fable always had a storybook look. This one looks a little more. hyper realistic compared to the previous games, but still, I think it still has that fairy tale look to it. So I think that's fun. Um, I like that you can get married and have kids, get divorced, and do all these. I mean, it's a true RPG, so I love all that too. Like, I love that you start off as a kid, just like the original Fable games too. Like, you really feel like you grow as a person, like literally, and that's I'm glad that I kept that in too. So all those elements of an RPG are there. Like, this game should be absolutely incredible for the RPG elements alone. The gameplay still looks really good. This is when I start having some questions. It combines melee, range, and magic attacks, and it looked pretty good, right? It didn't look. It didn't. The combat didn't like wow me, but it looked solid, right? Um, what I noticed though was there was some frame rate issues and some choppiness in the gameplay. I assume that's just because it's an early build and it's going to be polished, but I don't know. I trust Playground Games because they are a very quality developer. So I think it's gonna get fixed. But I did notice in the gameplay, I wasn't like blown away by the gameplay. But I did like that you had different ways of tackling an enemy. I generally prefer like ranged or melee. Excuse me, ranged or magic instead of melee. So I like the different builds and playstyles. I like again RPG, so I like that you can do that. But I did notice some gameplay issues. What about you, Dory?
Yes, sorry, muted myself because of Xena. Yeah, I noticed that too. Some of the combat looked a little finicky, and the strikes didn't
Didn't
look
land.
super satisfying.
Yeah.
FPS drops were there too. So yeah, like similar to you, I have questions, but they have upward. I mean, autumn means basically any time before November, right? Because as somebody pointed out, I think GameRanks pointed out, they're not releasing it in November
Autumn
for obvious reasons.
autumn
And
autumn would be September, late September to
late
November.
September
To
to
like
like
mid
late October.
it'd be like mid
Well, mid December, unless I don't think they'll release it in December. But yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto's coming out in
let's
November, is why I
let's
say that they're
let's say October.
yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It feels like a nice October game. But even
Yeah.
if it was late September, right? It's only January. They have 9 months to like fix that stuff up, and that's if that's not an early build. So like, I'm not super worried. Like you said, Playground Games also has a really good track record. They've split it to different teams, so it's not all one team handling both games, I presume. So like, I think they can do this, and I think they can nail it. I don't need the combat to be amazing. I just need it to be functional and enjoyable. And as long as it's that,
Yeah.
and then the RPG stuff, I mean, I have total faith in at this point because it's very impressive just from the outset. I mean, there's one thing with Fable. I think this is one of the reasons as I grew up, I didn't play it. I'm just not super into the life sim genre, like as a genre, and so that part of Fable just never appealed to me really. And
Yeah.
add to that kind of the wishy-washy combat. I think I just never really got into it. And I do love a good story. I love a good morality system.
Yeah.
But those other two parts always kind of. But I'm older and possibly wiser. So I think I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's coming to Game
I
Pass
don't know
anyway.
if
So
I wouldn't even consider it like a life sim anyway. It's like it's not a major part. It's not The Sims. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
right.
It's
No,
it's
I
just,
just meant the aspects of that were kind of life
no, I got
simmy
you.
were yeah.
The main selling point of Fable has always been the karma system, where like good and evil
Right.
choices. Now I know people are upset. Well, the original fans are upset that this game is getting rid of the karma system and focusing more on a reputation system. Like you this whole game revolves around a reputation system, how people view you. Like in the original games, there was good and evil karma, like right, and your face would change. So if you were doing evil things all the time, you would look like a devil. Like your whole face would change, and they're not doing that in this game. So some people are upset or a little disappointed with that. I think the reputation system is totally fine. Um, yeah, it would be cool to have the original system with like your character changes. We look evil, but first of all, I don't. My first playthrough, I'm always a good guy anyway. I don't like playing a bad guy.
Right.
Like I always make the good choice. Even when I do like multiple playthroughs, I don't like being evil in games. It's just not my
Yeah,
personality.
for sure.
I always feel bad and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you can be a rich, evil asshole landlord." I'm like, or a slumlord or whatever. I'm like, why would I want to replicate the shit that's in the real world? Like, why would I do that? Like,
Yeah.
that's so
I
dumb.
get to be I get to be a
I
Ubisoft
don't know.
EA
I
executive.
get,
Not
yeah, right.
true
Like,
role
what?
playing. True role playing.
Why the fuck would I want to do that?
Yeah.
I appreciate that they let you, similar to Baldur's Gate 3, where they just let you be fucking in a total asshole.
Yeah.
But like, I just personally, I have no interest in that. I don't play these games to be an asshole. I play these games to like figure out what I, Dory, would do in
Yeah.
these situations with the limited choices I have, and like what
Yeah.
would I choose,
Yeah.
and what that says about me as a person and my character. Like that's what I play games for. I don't play to be like an evil jerk, and it's fine if other people do. It's
Sure.
fucking, it's not real. Like it's fine if people
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
that. But I personally don't want to punch the reporter or tell the alien species that they look like a giant oversized jellyfish, right? I just don't want to be like that. That's
Yeah.
just not who I am.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not the paragon of truth. I'm not like Superman, and I'm not
No,
every choice I do is a paladin, save the world. No,
no,
like,
for sure.
but I at most I like I'll be like, if this person deserves to die, and it's for the good of like the community or something like that, then I'll make the choice and just kill the. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I'll go that route. You know what I mean? In an RPG,
Yeah. I
or
think the most I ever go,
yeah,
like, I guess I could say, like, to use wrestling speak, like, kind of tweenerish, is like, my
yeah,
characters in the last few years have really suddenly discovered the true meaning of getting all this work, which is money. And people are always very kind of like, I don't know, stone faced about it, and they're kind of like annoyed that like, oh well, you're really insisting on money, and I'm always like, yeah, it costs a lot to be a mercenary, and
yeah,
I'm trying to live,
yeah.
and I'm trying to have the
Yeah.
best weapon so I can save the entire universe. Give me my money.
Yeah, like at most, I'm usually like a if I go far, I'm usually like a neutral character that's gray and like I'll
Yeah,
do the right thing, but I'll ask for a little more money, my charisma
right.
build, that kind of thing. That's what I'll
Yeah,
do.
yeah, like scoundrel with a heart of gold. Like
Yeah, I'm always Han
that's kind
Solo
of
in every
what.
game.
Yeah, that's yeah. Seb and I are very kosher on, very similar on that. But anyway,
Yeah, and then I wonder how it works with this game, but like there's some games where like I'll use Outer Worlds 2 for example, where I just charisma my way through the entire game, and the final boss was so anticlimactic because I just talked him out of it.
yes,
He's like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I'll just give up. Went through this whole elaborate plan, and just because you convinced me, I'm just gonna like sacrifice myself. Okay, bye.
I know. I really wish. I love what they did in Baldur's Gate 3, where it's like you had like it was difficulty level 99 or something like that, so you almost like couldn't, no matter how good your stats are, or you
Yeah,
couldn't roll that unless you had a nat 20.
yeah,
I think there's some like weird way that you can get a 99,
yeah,
but like
yeah,
in general, like you couldn't. So I would love if there's like a persuasion option in Fable, and the villain just says no, and it's just like, even though if you succeed, like, no, I'm not. That doesn't make
yeah.
any sense. I spent so long getting to this point. Why would I do
Yeah,
that?
normally what I do is like I won't do an evil playthrough. I'll just like watch it on YouTube, like all the most evil
Yeah,
choices, and just have and watch like a 2 hour
yeah.
video of the evil choices. I'll probably do the same thing for this
God,
game.
even that's painful for me, because like, again, going back to Baldur's Gate, like seeing your companions hate you, or like
You straight up,
struggling with the morality, especially like the dirge playthroughs. Oh God, it's tough
you
stuff.
straight up sacrifice them or kill them or yeah,
Yeah, it's horrible. I just
make
can't.
them your puppets. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
terrible.
Well, it comes out in autumn of 2026, and we'll see what that means. I feel like it's October. That's a safe. I feel like it just feels like an October game. I don't think you want to do November if Grand Theft Auto is coming out. I just don't. Everybody's avoiding
Yeah,
Grand Theft Auto. I feel like October gives people enough time to play the game. Don't do like Halloween though, because then that's not enough time. Um, so we'll see. All right. So overall, I think the Xbox showcase was actually very good. I thought it was fantastic. Actually, I thought it was a 9 out of 10 for me. Um, 3 out of the 4 games are all like day ones for me, and I think Beast of Reincarnation looks great, and I think Fable and Forza are Game of the Year contenders. In fact, I could see them easily being in my top 5 by the end of the year. No, maybe they won't be, but I'm saying I could easily see them being Game of the Year contenders for me. So I thought the showcase was fantastic. I thought the pacing, even though it had like people getting interviewed, like stuff I hate in showcases usually, even that was pretty well paced, and their presentation was really good. I was never bored, and so I thought it was a 9 out of 10 show. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, more of an 8. I thought it was great. But at the same time, like it's like half the games, I'm really interested in.
Mm.
Even those games, I have concerns or qualms about. So we'll see what happens. But a great showcase overall for sure, and it didn't waste your time. It was under an hour, so I have no major
Yeah.
complaints about it.
I hope
Honestly,
I hope people learn from this. When you like, you can interview your devs and do like showcases like that. Just pace it better. Don't just stop the whole show for a 15-minute interview and asking bare bone questions like, oh, they just give you PR talk and I get nothing out of it. So please learn from that.
yep,
I think Microsoft did a great presentation with this. I know. Sometimes we can be very negative with Xbox, as they've done negative news, so it's not like we're doing it on purpose. So it's
right.
nice to be positive about Microsoft. Well, Xbox, more
Yeah,
specifically.
really soak that in because it might be the first and last time. I remember last year when they were off to a good start, and I was like, "Oh, things are looking up for Xbox." And then the rest of the year happened. And I was like,
Yeah,
"I don't know how much longer Xbox is going to be around."
yeah. But it seems like they're coming out. It seems like they're coming out with a new
Right.
system. So, all right.
Right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. You all have a good night. Take care, Dory, and we'll see you
Bye.
guys next week. Bye.
By next episode, I'll either have horns or angels. That Halo, that you'll know what choices I made in Fable by that.